Testing. Hi there. My name is Rohan Beve, and today we are going to be talking about the ant life cycle. Also, what is an ant mill? We're going to be asking these two topics today. So this is going to be 1, this is going to be 2. Okay, so first, what is an ant's life cycle? Well, what is an ant mill? But in order to get to that, let's first learn what the ant's life cycle is. It all starts when the queen, lays an egg. Okay, so now there's these baby eggs. So, it starts in, you just see these little mounds under the ground, right? Well, inside these are a very complicated system of structures, okay? And there are these various egg chambers, brood chambers, okay? Where a bunch of eggs are there. Future worker ants. So eventually, after 1 or 2 weeks, the egg will hatch and turn into a larvae, okay? And these larvae are basically the future of the colony. So worker ants will mainly care for them, clean them, and feed them. The feeding part is most important, as the ants regurgitate food and feed it to the larvae, and this is very important for it, as eventually it'll start sweating these protein-like substance down, which eventually turn into silk. Eventually, after the course of a bunch of weeks, the larvae will slowly thread itself, weave itself, okay, until it becomes into stage 3, a cocoon. Inside the cocoon, a metamorphosis happens where the larvae gets adult-like features such as an abdomen, a head with eyes, mouth, antennae, and wings and legs, And then eventually, after some time, the cocoon will hatch and an adult ant will, hatch out. Now, the larvae could be either most of the time being a worker ant, which their job is to forage for food, take care of larvae, and defend the nest, while male and queen ants are there mainly for reproduction to create more colonies, okay? So, how do they forage for food mainly? Well, how do they communicate in the first place? So, ants will communicate through something called a chemical called pheromones that they emit, okay, which means talk. So they use these pheromones to to warn things like, hey, there's food here, oh no, there's a danger, and etc. Like whether, we should get back in, that kind of stuff, okay? So, for example, let's say a worker finds a piece of cheese in the ground, right? He grabs that cheese, okay? And then he grabs that cheese and he realizes this is food, right? So he'll walk back and create a pheromone trail, okay? And then other bands will smell this trail, will use this trail, and it's a trail that there's food there. So they're like, oh, okay, and they'll follow that trail, also giving out pheromone scent. That's why their ants always go in lines, because they're following that pheromone trail, okay? But if an obstacle is in the way of an ant or an a line, the ant does not know what to do and will just try to obstruct that obstacle. Maybe go in a loop and then just, go, right? This has now just become an ant mill or a death wheel or death circle. I forgot what it was called, but it becomes an ant mill. So now the ants are just following the misleaded ant now, so now they're just following it. And eventually, as more time comes, it gets more defined. And this could be deadly for reasons such as mostly due to the fact that they'll lose their energy. Okay, so they'll get dehydrated, exhausted, and they'll die because they lose their energy just continuously following this trail. So it gets more defined over time, and it could potentially be lethal. So that's why when you see an antline, don't obstruct it or do anything with it, as it could potentially kill the ants. And if you see an ant mill, if you see an ant mill, always just put like an obstacle in the way so that the ants may disperse and find their way back to the nest. Okay? But you also might need to ask for like experts on this, because sometimes some ants can bite and they are very painful. So, go check up on an expert on what to do with the situation. Okay, and that's basically what an ant's life cycle is and what an ant mill is. And that's basically it. Thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!